The Imani Speak Show, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday nights on ConsciousRadio.com.
Okay, as promised, I have a conversation for you, a wonderful conversation with a lovely lady, Shelley Twin, and she's written an amazing book, Dating Is Us. So we're going to be talking about dating over 40, and, it's going to be really exciting. If you want to join in, if you want to send text or what have you, you can share it on 07555 835 359. So, yes, you're going to hear this lovely conversation with myself and Shelley. Shelley, are you there?
I'm here. Good afternoon, Imani. Hello there. Hi.
Oh, good afternoon, Shelley. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. I'm really honoured and happy to have you on the show and to talk about your fantastic book, Dating Is Us. But before we go there, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, about the person behind the author and the entertainer? We are going to talk more later on about your work in the music business, but can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm 50-something now, actually. I was born in Hackney in the 1960s. My father was Caribbean and my mother was English, a mix of English, Swedish and Irish. There you go. So I'm dual heritage lady, and my life has been lived mainly in London, but I've also lived in the Caribbean. I found very early on that I had an aptitude for writing and also for music. Music was a bit of an escapism, really, and I also read a lot. It's strange because I've written lots of stuff, but I've never ever published things before, recorded songs and what have you. Growing up in the 60s and early 70s was retrospectively a really important time. Socially, lots of things were changing. I mean, swinging 60s is a typical example of, I don't remember what was going on there. I was too young.
Me too.
But, lots of changes. We had feminism, we had glam rock, we had what I suppose people would term emasculation of men. I don't say that lightheartedly either. So obviously, if you grow up in an environment of music, people were, my parents were always had musicians in the house, and we had house parties, blues parties, I suppose, if you like. And so obviously you're like a sponge, aren't you, when you're growing up, and you basically everything influences you. But my biggest thing has always been the arts. I've done other stuff. I've worked in other fields. Civil servant was my main bread and butter job. But as I say, very heavily influenced by society. So I talk a lot about different aspects of society in the book, although it's about dating and what have you. There are some serious points to that, which I'll discuss with you later.
Thank you, Shelley, for that lovely intro about yourself. And, definitely I can concur with some of, a lot of what you're saying there, being born in the 60s myself. But, what I want to ask you is about this fantastic book, Dating Is Us. And I just really want to find out, can you just go into a little bit more detail about what the book is about?
Yeah, it's about a woman of colour, I'll say that, who I suppose is disillusioned. She gets divorced. She's done the white picket fence thing that society expects you to do, that was in the Jackie magazine. Get married, have children, settle down, work hard, buy a house, buy cars, cats, dogs,
you name it, yeah.
But it all sort of falls apart. So what happens is that, it's more or less, you should be in a relationship with, people are saying to this character, you should be in a relationship. Why are you single? Why are you not with anybody? But after divorce, I think you need time to regroup. And so what happens is she decides at that time, this was written a couple of years ago now, this book, that she'll try online dating because lots of friends were doing it. And so she has a go. And she finds it absolutely fascinating because she can actually choose what she wants. It's like going into Waitrose, or Tesco or wherever you shop, choosing whatever one you want, really. On the surface, that is, you can choose the tin, you don't know what's in it until you open it. So what she does is she does the online dating thing, and it was all computer based and a little bit telephone based in those days. And she has some extraordinarily interesting adventures. And she meets somebody that she actually falls in love with. So, it actually works. So it's a story of, that journey, basically. For example, she doesn't know whether to text back after a date. Do you text first or do they text first? Do you wait for 3 days? Do you know what you do? You don't want to seem desperate. Things like that. So it's like going backwards, because if you've been married for 25 years and you've just been married for 25 years, you've not been dating, you don't know what to do. So she forgot. So there are some big to talk about, some faux pas. So it's about that. It's about that, but it's also as I said, we also find out there are lots of social issues which wasn't prepared for. That stare her in the face, basically. She has to deal with them. So that's what the book's about.
Wow. I think you may have touched on this question, but just maybe if you want to add anything more. Why did you write the book? What was your reasoning behind writing the book?
As I say, I've always written, and I found it. At that time, there were lots of things going on in my life. One of the most devastating things was the passing of my father, whom I was very close to, and this sounds extremely strange, but this is a truth. This is a truism. So as I said, I'd lose myself in music or whatever and writing, and I decided to. I was listening to lots of people's experiences about online dating and things, and I was really grief stricken. I was still grief stricken. Some years after my father died, and I had this message from him. Take from it what you like. Saying to me, Shelley, stop crying and write down what's happening to you now. And that is as true as ever. So I just decided to write everything down. So it was like I was just writing down other people's experiences, some of my own. Now I've given the game away. So it was therapeutic, say that, because at that time I had 3 children in their late teens and 20s who had been absolutely, their whole life had been blown apart by lots of bereavements, divorce, etc. Yeah. So it was therapeutic. Dad had said to me from wherever he was in the ether, write it down. And I'd come home from work. Kids were running right, doing their own thing, what have you. And I'd just go up to my room and write. Self-therapy, if you like. So that was why I wrote it.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that's amazing. Your dad, sharing that with you, and that's the thing. When people pass, we feel that we can no longer communicate. But you've just proven that that's not true. Our loved ones are always around us, always there for us, even when they've passed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's my belief. Without going into too deeply.
Yeah.
But we're all part of the same thing, basically. So. The energy's still there.
Shelley, who did you write the book for? Who can benefit from reading this book, or who will be, tantalised by this book?
Everyone. As I say, there are some. Everyone will be, because what I do as well is, there are some really steamy sex scenes in this, and this wasn't about emulating anything like 50 Shades of Grey or anything like that. And she was a very brave woman, I think, as well, approaching that subject, E.L. James. Obviously, women and people that have been maybe widowed, divorced, anybody that basically is thinking of online dating or has done it, or has managed to get a partner via anybody really. I'm also interested in the diversity aspects of things, because dating is for, as I say, it's for everybody. So people with people with disabilities, people of people that are gay, anybody that dates, anybody that loves would be interested in this book.
Right.
Anybody that wants to, try and form a relationship with somebody else. But the other thing that I have to say is that the message actually is about also learning to love yourself before you can go into a relationship with somebody else, because that's very important, Imani, and at that point, the character in the book, she wasn't in love with herself at all, because she felt she'd let herself down. She felt she'd let her family down. She felt she'd let society down. So anybody that loves or is interested in love and relationships, I think that this book is a must read for them.
Yeah, that's great. And I love that you talk about loving yourself first, because I feel, it is about understanding that you're a gift to the other person, and you've got to teach them how to treat you. So it's very important that you have something to offer them, and you also they also know what to expect and how to be with you and how to love you.
Yeah, you've got to have your own. Life is a voyage of self-discovery, and you've got to have your own boundaries, and you've got to be comfortable with yourself in any case. And I think that what happened to this character as well, maybe to lots of other people, is that you go into relationships without actually knowing who you are, and we go into relationships very young sometimes. That's not to say that that doesn't pan out sometimes. Sometimes it does. But, all importantly, I think you're more attractive to somebody else if you know yourself.
Yes. Yeah, for sure, definitely. Knowing yourself, because how are you going to, if you don't know you're introducing a stranger to this person that you don't even know. So
that you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
It's common sense, but we have all these pressures from outside, from everybody, not from outside, from inside, from family members, from friends. The character said, she said, well, why are you single? You're gorgeous. Are you very choosy? I mean, that's a quote from the book, but it wasn't that. It was because she was on a voyage of self-discovery, but still actually trying to appease society by saying, you know what, I've got to get somebody. I've got to be somebody. So yeah.
It's the demands that society makes a lot of demands on people, women, I suspect in particular, about relationships.
Yeah, I think that the 70s and the 80s were a pivotal time for women in that we. I sort of think back to my mum. Actually, she was a Shirley Valentine type character. Actually, she used to go to Spain. She used to go to Spain with her sister, a bit like the Shirley Valentine film. I don't know who's familiar with it or isn't really. And at that time, I mean, it was sort of unheard of for women going abroad on their own. What are you going abroad for? So feminist ideals. There were lots of changes in terms of accepting people for who they were. In terms of their colour, their gender, their sexuality, their disabilities, everything was sort of all important at that time. So basically that's my sort of thinking anyway.
Oh, thank you, Shelley. Shelley, at this time, can you just let people know how they can contact you, your contact details? And where they can find you? Yeah,
they'll never find me anywhere because I move around a lot. But in terms of my website, it's www.untitled datingisus.com. Now, on the website, you'll find Instagram, you'll find Twitter, you'll find Facebook, and you'll find a beautiful website. And on that, there's the EP, the music EP that will be the soundtrack for the film when it's made.
Wow, wonderful. Shelley, what are the pros and cons of people dating after the age of 40? What do they need to know? What do they need to be aware of before they embark on this dating journey?
Well, some of the pros are obviously that you have fun. You can have fun.
So you've got to like having fun, yes.
Yeah, you can have fun. You could meet potential partner, lover, whatever it is that you desire, because I don't think everybody's in it just to meet a partner. They might be in it for the physical side of things as well, which can be a pro and can be a con. Also fills your calendar up, because you can say, right, I'm out tonight. So, but it can alleviate loneliness. I think a lot of people can be quite lonely. In that sometimes they'll go to work, they'll come home, they'll and they don't actually have time to meet people, to be honest. So one of the pros is that you can choose who you want or who you don't want. And yeah, I mean, it's the social aspect as well. There are all sorts of websites that, you can go mountain climbing and, scuba diving in the Pacific Ocean and all sorts of things. So yeah, that very positive, can enhance your social life and help you as a person to meet other people. Some of the cons, though, especially if you're over 30s, and I do start with the over 40s, and over 40s especially, and going to sort of over 50s as well, was that I found that, and this is a very important thing really, that a lot of people of that sort of age group were not using condoms, if you like, really. So sexual health is very important as well.
Very much so, yeah.
Don't take it for granted just because somebody comes from a good family that blah blah blah. So I'd advocate, if you're gonna have sex with somebody, use condom, definitely, without a doubt. I don't have any shares in condom companies, but there you go. I seriously,
so protect yourself, yeah.
Protect yourself. Also from a safety aspect, people can also put on the websites mock-up profiles and things like that. So my advice to anybody, male, female, whoever, would be, if you were going to meet somebody for the first time and you've got their details, then let somebody else know where you're going, who you're with, and try to have sort of a get out clause, or get somebody to call you at a certain time. If they don't hear from you, then maybe raise the alarm. That's very important as well. So there are some cons, and also I have to say that there are people on these sites that may just want you for a physical for one night. Just be very careful. I mean, you may want them for one night, who knows? But on a serious note, be very careful about that. But on a serious note, tell people where you're going, maybe who you're with. You may feel embarrassed. That I don't think so much now though. A lot of people are doing the online dating thing, but just let somebody know where you are or who you're with. The other thing is, I talk about, as I say, that some people may not be in it for relationship wise, and I do talk about what we call the disposable society, in that especially the apps that you've got on your phone, you can swipe that way, swipe this way, swipe that way. Don't like that one, don't like this one. Maybe you meet somebody, and I suppose this is one of the cons, that because there might be too much variety out there.
Right.
some people may not be willing to give it a chance. So whereas before you'd probably, when the 6-month honeymoon period was over, you'd work through it or you'd say goodbye. I think people are more likely now to say, oh, well, I don't want to do that. I talk about changing your shoes too often, really. In the book, I talk about people buy a pair of shoes, they pinch your feet. So what you do, you either throw them away or wear them in for a little while, and then they'll fit nice and comfortably if they're good leather. So, I like that to relationships. Really, sometimes you just got to wear it in, a little bit, and hope that they do fit you, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So there are some of the pros and cons there, Imani, I think.
Oh, thank you for that. I like that you talk about, people should protect themselves, and, in terms of their health, don't just go out there and allow yourself to be open to, any situation that's uncomfortable for you. And also to let someone know that, someone that you trust, let them know what's happening, so they can look out for you if something odd happens, they're not able to hear from you or what have you.
Definitely.
So, I love that you share that, because obviously, like you said, a lot of people are doing this these days, but they may not be thinking of some of these precautions.
It's and as I said, over 40s, the contraception side of it is it's contraception, it's sexual health, so just be careful out there, Yeah,
Shelley, can you tell us about the plans that you have for Dating Is Us brand? The Dating Is Us brand, you've got so much that you're doing with it. Can you share some of that with us?
Yeah, we are going to start speed dating events all over the country. But these are speed dating events with a difference, because we're going to look at, we're going to take the diversity thing a little bit further. What we're going to do is we're going to do speed dating events for people with visible and invisible disabilities, because sometimes there's a difference. And very interestingly, I'm talking about over 40s, but we're also going to do speed dating events for people of a later age, maybe over 60s, because when people get to a certain age and they may have lost a partner or whatever, it becomes even more difficult to get out and about. But also take into consideration the fact that people of a certain age may not be very technology wise. So we've got to look at how we reach people.
That's really true. Yeah.
She had her boarding pass on her phone. She would have freaked out. She didn't know how to work it. So we've got to take that into consideration. And obviously, as I said, there are people with disabilities that may not be able to use apps that easily without adaptation. So we've got to take all those things into consideration. Also, we're going to be doing dating for gay couples, gay people. I think it goes back to my own background, really, because I'm quite diverse in terms of my heritage, but also my family were quite diverse. So it's completely normal to do things like that with me. So what I'm saying is inclusion rather than exclusion.
Right.
Is what we're going to do. But the speed dating events will be fun. And also with a bit of a twist, because obviously I write songs, so you may be lucky enough to see some well-known live musicians at some of these events as well. We'll have PA appearances and things. The sky's the limit with this, really, because we can make it what we want, but it's all going to be under the Dating Is Us brand.
Right, fantastic. Shelley, if anyone wants to get in contact and be part of all that you're planning to do, or they just want to get in contact with you, can you just share your details again for us, please?
Of course. I'm Shelley Twin. Shelley with an E.
Yes, Very important. Yes.
Shelley Twin with 2 N's as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you can get me on www.datingisus.com. And that's the website, which will take you to Twitter. It will take you to Instagram. So you can look at the beautiful posts that we have, and Facebook as well. I'm on Facebook, and I'm also a musician. So sometimes I'm gigging. So you may
right, fantastic.
Yeah, and the book can be found on Amazon, of course. And there's also a Kindle edition at the moment, and we're looking to talk about inclusion. We're looking to, look at how we can put this maybe into Braille, and we'll also be looking at an audio book as well for so people want to jog or whatever, listen to it on the plane. They can do so. So, So that's how you can reach me.
That's fantastic. You mentioned that obviously we're going to talk about the EP and also play tracks from the EP. Can you tell us a little bit, just a little bit of your musical background? How did you get into? When did you find out that you had this gift, and how did you get into it, and what have you been doing?
Well, very early on. My mother used to sing, although she wasn't. She never went out into public. My father was brought up in the church in the Caribbean, so he was always singing. I was, suppose, very musically inclined. We used to have Desmond Decker and his musicians come when we were little kids, because my mum used to look after saxophone player. I remember his name was Rex, who used to look after his son. So we always had musicians coming in and out of the house. And as I say, parents were always singing around the house. Mum loved jazz. My mum, she's, bless her soul, she's not with us anymore. She used to be the girlfriend of Fela Kuti, the jazz musician, many years ago. So she was very, I don't know why she never got up and sang at Ronnie Scott's, can't say that. So anyway, music around the house, always music around the house, poets, bunny girls. My mum's friends were bunny girls, Playboy bunnies. So I went to school in Clapton in East London when I was a kid, and I was, for some reason, I started to play recorder like a lot of kids did. But I had an aptitude, and I picked it up and started playing things, and then I started to learn piano because somebody took a shine to me. Can't remember her name, bless her. Started to teach piano. Then I went on to play guitar, and I was a very accomplished young guitarist. And then I played violin. I started to write songs when I was a child, did poems, songs. So eventually I got into the scene in my 20s, and went out and started auditioning for bands via the Melody Maker. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I was in a band called State of the Art. We were quite well known in the 80s. Almost signed by EMI, but then they decided to sign the Sputnik instead. So I've always sung. I sang to my kids, sung out there, publicly singing. Still, I'm out there gigging. I've done lots of backing vocals for people. I sing jazz on a Sunday afternoon every 6 weeks at the Nag's Head in Walthamstow. I am about to sing with a well-known band, but I can't say at the moment because it's not set in stone, but they are quite a well 70s, 80s band, so I'll be singing with them pretty soon. As I said, writing and music are my therapy. That's my therapy. As soon as I get up, I've got the radio on, or I've got my app on. I'll play guitar. I'll listen to music in my car. I'll listen to music on my iPhone, my iPods, if I'm walking along the street. It's my escapism, really. I'm a good singer. I'm a very good singer, actually. I just never really made it big, if you know what I mean. But I keep trying, and I think this year is going to see some some results for me. I'll be on the big stage again. So yeah.
Good for you, Shelley. And sorry, carry on. Carry on.
So if anybody wants to see what I do, I mean, there's a demo on YouTube called the Heart and Soul Band, and I'm in this band with Ian Lewinson and Kevin Anderson. Ian Lewinson is one of the Lewinson brothers, and he and I have written some of the songs on the EP. So yeah, you can. It's Heart and Soul Band YouTube. If you look on there, you'll see what I do as a singer.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Shelley. Yes, and definitely, I've heard your EP, and you're definitely very, very talented singer.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just want to ask you a few questions about the tracks before we play them. What made you write Late Life Love? What was the whole thinking behind that? How did the words come, the lyrics, the whole,
Yeah. Well, I fell in love at 53. I'm now 50. I'm almost 58. And the story of the song is about a little bit like the book, really. What the expectations were, it all went wrong. And then somebody comes along. Actually, ironically, not on a dating website. And I wrote a song about him because I found love. And this is echoed by lots of people that I know who've done exactly the same thing, because there's no pressure at that point. We've had our children. We're not expecting to get married. We're not expecting to do anything, really. We just accept each other for who we are. I don't really want to reveal who I'm, not to reveal, but say who I'm with, say his name, but it is about the person that I love and respect very much. And I suppose the lyrics came about because if I think about certain things, they just come into my head and I just scribble them down, and I'm lucky enough to be able to do that. I think quite a few writers can do that. And the music was arranged by Ian Lewinson and Kevin Anderson, who are accomplished musicians in their own right. And we recorded it in Tottenham, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. So very important song. It fits with the book because, if you do find somebody. There was people at my book launch, Julia and Ian. They don't mind me speaking about them because they said they gave me permission to do so. Mm-hmm. And they found each other in their 60s and 70s. So they call themselves the Later Life Love couple.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find love at any age. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Late life love, late life love, late life love, late life love. The amazing thing about the situation was love described itself as my best friend. The holding hands and kiss chasing the schoolyard was cumbersome and cute but had to end. Late life love, late life love, late life love, late life love. The amazing thing about that situation was marriage and the game I had to play. When I was left alone with desperate call. I found a late life love with rhyme and reason. No need to doubt my late life love at all. Late life love, 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 late life found a late life love. No need to date my love. I found a late life love. No need to date my late life love.
You know, Shelley, want to look at, you know, we're going to play another track off the EP, which is Ain't Got Time to Love You. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right, now, Ain't Got Time to Love You is an interesting song because it's about, it sort of looks at the pressures of life, in that if you're successful or not, you may be very busy, and you may not have time to do all the things that you want to do because your job or whatever takes you away. Mm-hmm. And this is also about the person that I'm in a relationship with, who travels so much that sometimes there isn't the time to do what you actually want to do. But I also echo that because I'm very busy as well. So I ain't got time to love you, although I love you. Is a song that unfortunately, you know, sometimes fits with maybe, I'm not going to say the fast lifestyle that we live, because you're so busy doing other things to try and, you know, make a living or make a name for yourself that, you know, if you're on the road, like a lot of musicians we're on the road a lot, you know, touring and what have you. I haven't got time to love you, although I love you. That's the message in that song, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it seems as though these days so many people have that, you know, and as you said, you know, musicians, you know, that has always been a thing for them, you know,
yeah,
being busy and going off to different places. But it seems as though, you know, everyone seems to have this fast life these days, and I think people will resonate, you know, with that.
Yeah, people actually weep when they hear this song. Yeah. A couple of people, when they listen to the lyrics, and they've cried. I'm a great communicator in that sense, and when I sing live, I communicate, and I have people crying. I think I learnt my art from Shirley Bassey, because I used to watch her when I was a kid on the TV, and she could move you to cry. Luckily, I've got that talent. Don't know where it comes from, but I just think it's a great. I think what it is the fact that you really mean what you're saying. Mm-hmm. You really want to communicate to the audience, and they feel it if they're listening, and that moves them to emotion, an emotional state.
Give me some of your time. Give me some of your time. Life is full of challenges, but love can soften the blow. Meeting you was incredible, uplifting, heaven knows. But life got in the way of love and altered all that goes. Now love is fading like a winter rose. Then you turn to me and say, I ain't got time to love you. Oh no, I ain't got time to love you. Miles apart we carry on, losing precious time, having fun in hotel rooms and giving loving kind. The moment that we have to part arrives, and there you go. We see it in each other's eyes and know
always sad, sometimes happy.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course. Oh wow. Yeah, I love that. Shelley, just want to ask you about We Got the Love.
This is the last track on the EP. This was written with another very accomplished, great guy, friend of mine, Phil Capone, who is a fabulous jazz musician in his own right, and what have you. And we wrote this in Chingford, actually. But the apple never falls far from the tree. And this is an upbeat, I call it an Ibiza type tune. You know, you can dance, and it's a sunny, happy song which says, actually, do you know what? We've got love. We've got the love. And there's a video on YouTube also. There's a video on the website to accompany this tune. By a guy called Joe McAllister, who's somebody that's very talented designer, graphic designer, etc. And so We Got the Love is a really upbeat tune. It's about celebrating love and beauty, also in nature and within yourself. Because as I've said earlier, you know, it's not all about loving other people. Sometimes it's about loving yourself, and the rest will follow. That's fine. But We Got the Love always makes people dance. It's a dance track. So
we love to move around here. Yeah. Very good for you.
It's for Ryan Apper type things, because I spent a bit of time out there when I was young as well. You know, doing all that thing. So that's We've Got the Love. Yeah, with the video, and that's on YouTube and on the website as well. Us. Yeah.
Reaching out for fun and sun, reaching out for everyone. Fun and sun. Fun and sun, reaching out for everyone. Fun and sun. We got the sun, we got wine, we got the love, so let it shine. We got the sun, we got the wine, we got the love, so let it shine. We got the sun, we got wine, we got the love, so let it shine. Reaching out for fun and sun, reaching out for everyone. Fun and sun. Reaching out for fun and sun, reaching out for everyone. Fun and sun. We got the sun, we got wine, we got the love, so let it shine. We got the sun, we got the wine, we got the love, so let it shine. We got the sun, we got the wine, we got the love, so let it shine. We got the love, 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 love. We got the love, 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 love. We got the sun, we got the wine.
Thank you, Shelley, for those answers and, you know, those beautiful songs that you've written. That you said is going to go to eventually to a soundtrack to the movie, for a movie that you're going to put together.
Yeah, you can get it on. You can get it download. You can get it on Spotify. It's on Spotify. Late Life Love. It's called the EP, and also it's on iTunes and CD Baby, and on the website and Amazon as well. So you can get hold of them. You can listen to them before you buy them if you want to, but I'm sure you buy them once you've listened to them anyway. So yeah, they're on all those platforms. You can buy the Dating Is Us Late Life Love EP.
Thank you. You know, Shelley, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've really enjoyed, you know, your company and your vibrant personality.
Thank you.
You know, certainly, you know, creating these fantastic products about love. You know, for me, love is a very important part of our world, and I think, you know, it's important to, you know, have a place for this. And I think what you're doing is, you know, with all these products based around love and relationship, I think it's fantastic, you know, helping people, letting people see things in a different way. Because I think sometimes for people, they get disillusioned when, you know, they break up or when they get to a certain age. They think, well, you know, I've had my time, it's, you know, it's the end. And what you're doing is really showing, no, you know, there is still opportunities for you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, opportunities to love. You know, like Bob Marley said, one love. You know, I mean, that's
he did, yes.
written, and it's just that's what it is. It's about keeping that connection between people, despite adversities and what have you. And life gets in the way sometimes. But yeah, so one love. Yeah.
One love indeed. But before you go, no one leaves the Imani Speak Show without giving a few words of encouragement and inspiration. Now, I would say you're a very inspirational lady, and, you know, you're so, you know, as I said earlier, you've got such a lovely personality, vibrant, loving and giving. So if someone's at home and they're, you know, they're newly single and, you know, they're really struggling, coming to terms with, you know, a breakup, or, you know, they've been single for a while and, you know, they're thinking about getting back on the, you know, the dating market, you know, have you got any words for them, or anyone who's like yourself, you know, started a new business and, you know, your business is already thriving? Have you got any words for anyone who's got an idea and they've sort of been holding on to it and not really doing anything about it? What few steps would you, you know, describe for them to take?
Yeah, well, I'm a great believer in visualization. I can't say it, but I know what I mean.
Yes.
Visualizing.
You said it correctly, yeah.
Yeah. So if you believe and want something enough, then you will actually start to think about it and visualize it, and it will come to you. And a lot of people say, oh yeah, that's the secret and it's the law of attraction, and yeah, it is. Because in my view, if somebody's, you know, if you're in a state of mind whereby you are low or whatever, then, you know, my therapy, as I've said, is listening to music or art or what have you. But what I'd say, especially if you've just broken up with somebody, is stop and regroup, first of all. Don't go straight out on, you know, into another relationship. Wait a while, you know. Visualize what you actually want. You know, do you actually want a relationship, or do you want to learn a little bit more about yourself? Maybe you want to go and see the pyramids, or you want to, you know, do a bit of bungee jumping or something like that, and you've never had the opportunity to do that. So my advice would be, you know, visualize what you want. If you want to do that, if you want to travel, if you want to set up a business, think about carefully what you want, and ask the advice of other people as well. Because sometimes your friends and family see you in a different light to the way you see yourself, especially if you've had a few sort of negative things going on around you. But I would say always go for what you want, but, you know, always go for what you want, but visualise it first. Definitely.
Awful. Thank you for that, Shelley. And, you know, before you go again, just let people know where they can find you, if they want to get involved in what you're doing, how they can get the book, the EP. Just share the love.
Dating Is Us. Dating Is Us. If you Google Dating Is Us, the website will come up. You can find the book on Amazon. You can find the book Dating Is Us on the Dating Is Us website, which is www.datingisus.com. You can also find the EP on the website, Dating Is Us. You can also find the EP and the book on, as I said, on Amazon, CD Baby, iTunes, and Spotify. So you can find us on all of those things. You can look on Instagram, look at our beautiful posts if you want to follow us on Instagram, Dating Is Us, and Facebook, and we also are on Twitter as well. And can I just say that we are doing a book signing on the 16th of March at Nolia's Gallery in at Suffolk Street, South East London. That's right opposite the Tate Gallery. So if you want to get a signed copy, come down between 3 and 6, and I'll be there, and I'll sign a book for you.
Oh, that's wonderful, Shelley. Thank you so much. And also, before you go, I want to just shout out to Marcia Spence. And what does Marcia Spence mean to you?
Oh, Marcia Spence is the person that's inspired me quite a lot, actually. In that I was at the book launch of Pamela R. Haynes, who's a friend and colleague of mine for many years. And Marcia said, has anybody got a manuscript or anything that they might want to give to us? And I said, yeah, I've got one. 86,000 words. So I've been working with Marcia. Because as I said, I write things and I put them down, as I said earlier. So Marcia has supported me. Marcia and her team have supported me and encouraged me to put this all together and to actually get it published. Because without Marcia, it probably would have been on my computer hard drive. So
wow.
What's that I've written, started writing. So Marcia M. Spence and her team, Marcia M. Spence Publishing House, are a fabulous, inspirational team of people who will encourage you to get the stuff off of your hard drive and give it to them, so that they can work with you to produce a beautiful thing like Dating Is Us. So Thank you to Marcia M. Spence, and also thank you to Pamela R. Haynes, who wrote the foreword in my book as well. Thank you to those people.
That's
Great.
wonderful. Wonderful women like yourself, doing your thing and showing other people that they too can be inspired. And you've been such an inspiration today for us, Shelley. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. And Dating Is Us, people.